with the wells and the problems. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if I own a business and I keep doing the same thing for 12 to 17 years, I'm not going to ever succeed. I'm going to go broke. You can't continue to make the same mistake over and over and over.
Since I didn't answer the question.
Okay, let's not answer the question.
Well, that's because
Let me explain something to you about cost, and it's an interesting thing what Jeff Pine says. It sounds like he wants to bill us for the water, the same that your water bill is the same. He doesn't control the water bill in Surfside. We don't buy water retail. We buy water wholesale. He has no understanding whatsoever of the distribution costs related to the water, no idea about the billing costs related to the water, and it's a vague, irresponsible question for him to say that your water is going to cost the same or a little more. He has no idea. There are massive bonds that need to be done to be able to create the water connection there. I tell you that someday there will be BWA water at Surfside, yes, but we will be in a very positive, negotiable situation because we really won't need it, because we will have water, it will be the quality that's necessary. When these last systems finish at Surfside Shores, we will be returned to adding phosphate compounds that will bring your water to crystal clear in your toilets. We haven't been able to do it because of the damage from Ike and the systems. The 2 of the 3 wells are up now that work on Surfside Shores. When it's there, there won't be any arsenic warnings in it. There won't be any magnesium or iron warnings, and everything will be taken care of because a lot of money has been spent on it. And in our luck, it's been mostly grant money and very little money from us. I will tell you that if you got water the way he's talking about getting water, it would probably cost you twice as much, because his intention and the way that Jeff explains this is that, yeah, if Joe Blow in Freeport sells water for pays $3,000, for $3,000 pays $30 for 3,000 gallons, we'll sell it to you the same. Well, that's absurd. We have to distribute it. We have to service the wells. We have to bill you for it. Where's the rest of that come from? It doubles the price of it, so it's absurd. But and on the last note, it's interesting that he says how terrible wells are in this part of the Gulf Coast, because the next major $15 million project or $20 million project for the BWA is to drill a well 1,500 feet deep. BWA has stopped taking water from the Brazos River and is drilling a saltwater well to RO the water at the site to do their next large expansion project, because the water in the Brazos River is decreasing. It's sometimes salty because of salt infusion up there because of drought, and because everybody upriver is taking that water. And if you follow it, their future is not surface water, but well water. That's the first time I've seen that. I got a 30-second limit. Thank you.
Sure.
So you said probably double our water bills?
It could be. It could be.
Okay, that's the question I was trying to.
And it might not be.
Yeah. Well, double's not that bad. No, I can live with that. To get good luck. Okay.
Sure.
One thing you have to remember, Georgia, that our water bill isn't just our water bill. It's the money we spend buying bottled water, or the time that you spend going to get it at City Hall. All that is above and beyond what we're paying for the water we can't drink anyway. So that isn't just our water bill. There's more to it than that.
That's what I was trying to find out.
My name is Ann Kelly, and we live in Lake Fork. I just, it's not really a question, I just have a comment. Over the past several months, not only is the water yellow, but it stinks. And it never did before, so I'd like to know what changes have been made if all these improvements are going on, that our water is worse.
What street do you live on?
We live on Lake Fork.
Lake Fork. Good flush. If it's not clear, you need to call the city, because you may be on a dead end and during the winter there's not much flow. And you could probably have some, I don't know, but
But it's the odor worse. I mean, it's clear, it's yellow, but it's not cloudy, it's clear, but it smells really bad.
odor is a combination of iron and magnesium that we're attacking with the phosphate compounds. I don't know what that one, but you should tell them and call them, and they can make it go away, because they can get the iron and magnesium that's built in there for low flows that we have in the winter. We have a very unique system in the fact that the flows are fluctuates so much over the year. On a weekly basis, in any other city, the water fluctuates 5% in usage. We fluctuate 30 and 40% because of unoccupied homes. And if you'll see, go down the street, you'll see them flushing these fire hydrants. We're frantically trying to get water through the system to move the irons out and to bring the chlorine levels up. It's a major project, and the system was not designed with a massive loop because we're a linear city, so it makes for difficult projects. If you ever have the problem, call them. They can fix those kind of problems, okay? Don't hesitate to call them. They're there to do it, and they'll be there until it's clear.
Well, there's one right behind you, and raise your hand first, please. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I wanted to wait till water was done.
Well, this is about water.
Okay.
The only thing I can say about water, and this is not really a question, but when the BWA water came in to all these other places, all you can see going to the grocery store, bottle after bottle after bottle.
This is true.
Of water, and it hasn't changed. I have people over in Freeport still buy bottled water to drink. That's all from the store. That is a good question, but
I'd like to say something. I lived here back whenever we voted it down. When they came out here and said, hey, we got BWA, it's a new company. We want to give everybody around here water, and Surfside turned it down.
Twice.
Yeah, I know things, but that was a long time ago. We didn't have the kind of people sitting out here that we have now. I'll just put it like that.
Donald Trump now.
We've got a great room of people in here, and yeah, maybe BWA will be here one day, but I agree with Claire, is that I know people that have BWA, and if they're on a low flow, a dead end, like maybe you are on Lake Court, and it's not flushed out, it smells. It stinks up the whole house. It's a flushing thing, you know. It's a dead end, like a water hose sitting there with water in it. The water's going to taste better after you flush it out for a little while, you know. So maybe one day we'll have it, but I can tell you from owning our hotel, we used to have to clean the showers and the toilets every day because of the brown stains. And we built that place 8 years ago. In 8 years, because of the elevated storage, and we're not sucking everything out of these tanks that we used to have, where we're sucking water off the bottom of them basically, and getting the sediment and everything. We hardly have to do that now. The water, the showers don't get brown for the water. The toilets are better, but it's because we're always using the water, and it flushes through there all the time.
On that note, y'all think about it. How often do you see BWA water in the newspapers saying they failed in the test? Think about it. Now, I ask the same question. How many times in the last 2 weeks have we seen Surfside in the newspaper for bad water? BWA has a reputation of giving good water. That's all I'm saying.
People can call the papers and have articles put in the paper. You can call and make calls to everybody. You can become a nuisance, and you will find your article and your complaint in the paper. It happens to us all the damn time. And I'll tell you right now that the facts newspaper loves to beat up on Surfside. They always have, and they continue to do it now. They always have. They've done it to me many times. The editors, whoever you want to call it, it's the facts.
There were two votes on the BWA water back many, many years ago. I know I was here questioning one lost by 3 votes, one lost by 5 votes.
Yes, ma'am, you have a
I
question?
have a question. My name is Yolanda Silva, and I'm a new resident to Surfside, and so, pardon, I just want to be involved with some education. Tell me a little bit about why it was not an interesting idea to use that concept, the BWA?
The BWA?
Before.
Yes.
I'd like to hear the history of it.
Yes, absolutely. The water system here in Surfside, I don't want to say we were backwards, but we were entrepreneurial type people out here. There was a guy that owned the system. It was privately owned. He would put pipes where he wanted to. He would let you slide on your bill for a while until you could pay. That's just how it was done back then. And that's the kind of people who lived out here. We would have power outages on a normal basis. Water, you couldn't get water to your second story. There wasn't enough pressure. So that's just the kind of people that lived out here back then, you know, and they said, no, we don't want their water, it's gonna cost us more. That's gonna cost us more, and they turned it down.
I've negotiated with Jackie, and he owned Jackson, and he owned the water system, and he was the one that encouraged the people that he delivered water to on a daily basis not to vote for BWA water. He felt that they were going to steal his water system from him and force him through an acquisition process that governments can do, and he didn't trust them. And he asked this, and he was friends, and everybody knew and loved him. They got their water because he worked his butt off for it. They were likely to get water, I guess. But he asked them 2 different times not to pass it, and based on that, it did pass. I wasn't voting there then. I owned a home.
Speak up, Larry.
I'm sorry. I wasn't here during the votes. I owned a home, but I was traveling. I can tell you that when first my priority when I became mayor in 1986 was to meet with Jackie, because the water, you think it's bad now, it was deplorable. We were happy to have water. We didn't care what it tasted like. She knows, she's laughing because she knows if it ran, we were happy. But he was sure they were going to steal it from him. And so I had spent a year convincing him that we were going to pay him whatever he wanted to buy the water system, because it had to be improved. We couldn't build any homes. We couldn't do anything, the water pressure, everything. And it was a long process, and it was 3 systems that he had bought from other people. And that's not the reason we're not on BWA now. BWA is a closed system now. We never had the ability until just recently to be able to accept water from anywhere else, because we didn't have the distribution, we didn't have the elevated storage, and now we do have that. At some point, I suspect when we need it, we'll have it. Okay? But in the meantime, we've done everything to bring it up to quality, and yes, arsenic has been a struggle, but arsenic has only recently been a struggle because the World Health Organization decided to cut it in half about 10 years ago, and we had never had a problem, and now you have to be at 10 points per billion, and we were at 11, 12, and 13 points per billion, and now we're at 5, 6, one well goes to 1, and then we have to send out 11, we have to send out these letters. But we'll be below it, and everybody will have water, it'll be clear, the pressure will be there, and all this, we don't have to go out and get more funding, we don't have to do anything. Everything's in place now, it's just a matter of time. And I'm excited about it. I know other people don't believe it. I find it hard to believe because it's taken so long. But I can tell you one other thing what's interesting, that you may say water in Surfside is terrible and we don't drink and all this. Since the day that we owned the water system, or within the first 2 years, we put our own water system up there for free to people who decided to study Surfside because we thought they deserved it. Until we could bring them good drinking water, they deserved it. This is the only place in Texas, in the whole, probably United States, because it went into Wall Street Journal. It was in there when we did that you could actually go and buy the same water quality that comes out of that water, these bottles. It's city service water that's done, and it's free to everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. Good. Stop. 30 to stop. Well, 30 was, I had 34 seconds. I thought I'd been talking. You need a flashing light, I guess. Sorry.
Yes, back in the 80s, when the first vote came up on tying into Freeport water, they were willing to bring the connection up to the middle of the bridge. Now, they needed this.
Not Freeport, BWA.
Oh, okay. We were shocked because the water was bad back then. It was going to be more expensive than what we were paying. And it was not insignificant. Let's say in those dollars, let's say back then it was $18 a month for a certain amount. Maybe it's going to go to 27 or 28. I mean, it was measurably more, but it just seemed short-sighted to us. And hell, we were not well-to-do people, but to have better water, we felt like it's an easy decision, but it was a lot more expensive. And so, like someone mentioned, it was a close election. I guess Ron mentioned it was a close election, but it was going to cost more. Our water is significantly better now than it used to be. And the fact that we find out from Claire and the others that go to local grocery stores a lot, people in Freeport, an awful lot of them are buying bottled water also. And we do have it free. And I think that it'll get better here, but it has gotten a lot better than it used to be. And no matter what these different Lake Jackson, Freeport, include mayors say, their people are paying a lot more for water than what we are today.
Right.
I probably should have thought, but I was here when that vote was taken, and it took it twice. First time it failed by 3 votes. And
I think you have to tell people, like 50 people voting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like 500 people.
That's okay. Failed by 3 votes. Just how you tell the story. And I asked why it failed the second time from someone, and the answer that I got then from someone of importance in the city was that if we have that water, we're going to have more development, and we don't really want more development. That was the answer I got. And I heard it, and I can tell you who said it, even though I'm not going to. But, thank you, Brooks, you're right. Now, that's, we need a question.
If there's no water, I'm ready.
Are you done with the water?
No.
One more?
Everybody else?
Mix it up, give me
All right, my name's Oscar Halifi, bought the house at 308 Surf, and I want to know what our council can do about those 2 horrible houses on the beach that just a couple of months ago, the windows broke out of Macario's house and fell down onto the beach. There was glass all over the beach, so dangerous, and those things are just continuing to deteriorate. What's our council going to do about that?
I could give you the judge's name and you could write him a letter because we have a standing injunction against us, against condemnation in those places. I can't speak much more about it beyond that because it's still in litigation, but we've been warned by the judge until he makes his final decision, which could be this year or next year or never, that we are to do nothing, and we tend to try to keep people away from them and remove debris in the water in front of them, which we're chasing the last piece of the bulkhead out in front of one of them. We marked it, and before anybody could come get it, the sand recovered it. So if in front of, I guess it's Montoya's home, you find a piece of metal and bulkhead, mark it for us, because we're showing them to find it again. We had it marked, somebody took the rope off, and there's a piece of bulkhead out there, so be careful.
I didn't know that.
I didn't, Dorothy, you were
It's
way
been
back.
litigated. There's an
Okay.
Just a minute, Dorothy.
Okay, let her
Ask your question. You've been asking me for 10 minutes.
Well, I think most of you know we're sitting on one of the most historic sites in Texas, Fort Velasco, and some progress has been made on it. I just happen to have, if you don't know about it, some of the things that happened during it gives me the right to say it's one of the most important sites. But I would like to ask each one of the candidates what they feel the city's responsibility, how the city should help in developing this, and what part that you think that outside organizations should play, because we're going to need a great deal of expertise, and there are people all over the state who would like to be involved. And to get it done to the level that it needs to be done with its importance, we need that outside help. So I'd like to have everyone on record of what their support for Fort Velasco is.
I'll go first. I support Fort Velasco and the development completely down there. Whenever they dug the holes to begin the project, the exploratory holes, they're about these tables here. We went down and looked at them. They called us, and you could see the pilings from this fort, or these buildings that used to be there at the mouth of the Brazos River. It's intriguing. It's fascinating. A lot of people don't understand what happened here years ago, how historic this place is. At the same time, you've got all these government entities that seem to want to tell us what to do every time we try and make a move. The GLO, the Army Corps, you have to work with them to get these things done. You know that.
I know that, and the archaeologists and all of them have to be, do it properly.
Right, it just takes time, but I think you're
Oh,
on
I'm
the
not
right.
trying to write, I just wanted your opinion.
Yes, I think you're on the right path, and I support it completely. I think it's going to be a great thing now.
It should be one of the best things that can happen to this whole county.
Absolutely.
I think you know where I stand on this. 20 years ago, a guy named George Cranky came into my office. Poor guy compared to see, he was probably 80 years old. He natural born his eyes, and he was one of the early beginners of the fort project. And so we're going to build a fort, and here's a picture of it. And I was clueless. I had no idea what was going on. He showed me this picture, he showed me where it was supposed to be. One of the first things that I realized during that next year is that we didn't own the property where he wanted to put it. So what we did is, early time, when land was still relatively cheap in Surfside, we started buying land. We bought all the land around. We bought that 5 acres behind the boat ramp. We bought the Dorchester tract where the fort is now intended to go. And through grants, because one of my firms at the beginning was grants director, getting land, money, and grants for public use. Originally, it was supposed to be a hotel, but that fell through because the fort didn't happen to be right there. But anyway, yes, we're going to support it and build it. Right now, we're waiting on our college and engineers, and people are going to see a lot of progress in the next year.
I support it as well. I think it would be one more reason for people to come to Surfside and see it. And I think it's a great idea, and I've heard you talk about it at the last city council meeting, and thought it was very interesting as well. So I support it too.
Right outside our window.
Yes.
Well, your passion is well known for this project, and you've done a great job. You spent a lot of your time to work hard for this community to have something that's now starting to come to reality, and you're getting somewhere with it. Our city's going to help you in every way possible. I'm all for it, just like these guys. It's a great project. I understand working with GLO. They could be a headache. We moved one of the biggest students on the island and had to go through everything to do it correctly, and it took a long time to achieve, but we did it. I've also been able to work with Corps engineers. They're tough, so let me ride. It's going to be a long-term project, but I know you're not going to give up on it. You're going to make it happen, and you'll see it done. Thank you.
Joe, you're promising I'm one of the.
We're not deductible. We're sorry.
There is an awful lot of interest around the state, different organizations, and we're going to need a 501(c) that is a huge conglomeration in order to get it done properly. And that is, if the city will support going out, corporations won't give to us, to the committee or to the city. But so there is some work on to do to get a support group that includes the archaeologists, the militia, the militia reenactment people, and all of that. And or y'all all think that we need to kind of put out feelers for that and get that going?
Is that a follow-up question or a speech? I think so the foundations are great. You got the right people. You got to have the board set the structure up. It's not we can't be directly associated with it, but we can make deals within for management processes like that. Yes.
Okay. And anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, I do happen to have a handout.
And what would we do without you?
That's sarcasm.
No, I'm not. I'm serious. I wish I had that much energy.
Stepping out of the moderators for a second, stepping into the Ma Ferguson, what they call me now. Jan is chairman of the historical committee. She passed away, they made me, because of the Ma Ferguson rule. And I'm getting used to that. But we have a dedicated committee, a terrible committee, and we thank you for your help. And I just wanted to echo Arthur's words. Arthur works out, everybody works very hard on this thing. And I'm so pleased to see it get done. We even have Adam Devaney and David Devaney, who come us from San Antonio. So, I mean, there's a lot of dedication. And for my part of it is, whatever they call me, Paul Ferguson is chairman of that thing. We appreciate everything y'all do. And Brooks, you've been trying to ask a question. Or was there someone?
Excuse me right there.
Oh,
I question for a really long time. My name's Denise Kaplan. I'm at 101 Pelican Place, number 2.
I have been a property owner here since 2007, and I've been a resident since January of 2015. So it's been a real transition for me being an out-of-state owner and then actually coming and being a resident here. And I want to preface this by saying that I really love Surfside, and I love being here, and I love that there's a community here. And I really want to do what I can to support that. On the other hand, between the water and the sewers and our septic tanks, I feel like I'm living in a freaking ghetto, and I hate it. And you don't have to answer that. That's just my own humble opinion. But the real question I have is that we are sitting on a jewel here, and I did hear somebody say they didn't want development. I don't understand that. We have the people coming in anyway. We are footing the bills for that because we have no tourist industry that's generating any kind of taxes here to help with kind of infrastructure we need, like decent water and decent sewers and, keep maintaining the beaches and helping out with the historical sites. And I don't understand, I can understand from the little I know that this, grew up as a little beach town, little surf town, nobody wanted, everybody's like, no. But we're not that anymore. And I think we're missing out on a huge opportunity for funding. And even if it's very tightly controlled small development, I don't understand why that, or maybe it is being pursued and I'm just not aware of it, I'll put it that way. But is that something that has even been discussed or talked about or thought about, or maybe, hey, we got people coming in, why don't we charge them money for stuff?
Can you answer the question?
Yeah.
And I would also say too, that that's probably my fault as you call it, because there's a lot of difference between 1981, what I heard it said by someone in prominent authority in the city that we didn't want development, and my hands went up in the air back then, and they still would. That is not true anymore. That was 35 years ago. So, or 34, whatever 1981 is. Do you have a question you want to ask?
That is my question. What if anything is being done to develop tourism and investment in the community from the tourism industry? And if there's nothing being done, why not?
Is Jenna here?
Let me tell you that right now, Ocean Village Hotel, one of our largest, newest, and cleanest hotels that bought the hotel next to them, they bought a lot of land around them as far as potential growth. The city council approved, they're kind of stuck, and Red Snapper's kind of stuck in a situation of not having sewer in that location. I met with the engineer, John Mercer, and we're waiting for surveys, and council has approved the preliminary infrastructure for a force main sewer to Ocean Street to help with Kitty's Purple Cow, Red Snapper, Ocean Village, and anything between them. What we're doing it one step at a time. These are critical points because Red Snapper, because of its volume, struggles with being able to use a septic system deal, and Ocean Village is locked into being developed anymore, even though it has land, because of having to use septic systems. And we're waiting for the engineering and the survey to make that happen there. There's a large tract on the other side of 332 that's probably going to be a very large development at some point right in front of Sharky's there. So yes, these places exist. Only as we expand the sewer system are those things going to happen on a larger scale. I don't think there'll ever be 20-story condominiums or anything like that.
I personally don't want that.
I know, but I think the type of, the two-level or resort type hotel at Ocean Village and having the ability not to have septic systems is going to make a lot of difference for that start there. It's going to grow there by where it needs to go, and we're excited about that. We're just having trouble getting AT&T to tell us where the fiber optic is so we can do the design so we can start the project, and you'll see more of that. And I can tell you, I don't know how long you've been here, but when somebody would have told me 10 years ago a beachfront house in Surfside would cost $400,000, I would have laughed. When we first house was sold for $100,000 in Surfside, everybody went, I don't believe.
I think that was us.
I can tell you that if that's happening, that the available space is decreasing, and everybody wants to live in Surfside, it seems like. So yes, it's met in a nice place. We have lots of money now coming in from hotel motel. We've got everything straightened out with that. We used to get $40,000 a year. We get over $200,000 a year in the 10% of our 4%. We also now are getting 2% kicked back from the state. So we're way up there in the 6% range from hotel motel. So we're ecstatic and we're doing lots of stuff with it. The city is flush with cash to help tourism and we're doing it.
Well, let's spend it.
It was 30 seconds more. If I walked up that red stop.
I'd like to make a statement about what Larry just mentioned. I contacted Larry Davis to put in sewer in my personal residence up at 750 Blue Water Highway. And he told me I could do it if I did 100% of it at my own expense. Mr. Davis was the developer of Ocean Village. They have.
I'm just giving facts of why the sewer's there.
Is that
He just said.
No, I don't know Ocean Village.
He just said that the red snappers have a problem. No, sir, they've lost their reason. That's not even going to be the red snapper anymore. I'm just giving you what I know for sure. I'm not beating on him, I'm just straightening out the comment. Is that acceptable or not acceptable? Okay.
Well, to say I own Ocean Village is.
I don't know, you built Ocean Village. I didn't say own, you built it. You
Said
were
I
talking
developed
That's enough.
That's me.
That's okay. I'll give you a question, you don't turn on me.
Can we move on?
Unite me with this.
It's getting out of the way with the questions. Can we move on, please? Because
I'm sorry.
I don't want to have a fight. I'm sorry.
Are you telling me to sit down?
I'm telling you to ask somebody else to ask a question.
Okay, well then I'll ask more questions afterward. Thank you.
It'll be fine. This is sort of getting argumentative, which we are trying very hard to prevent. How about talking about you? Yes,
That was not my intent, I just want to make that.
all right, go ahead, ask your question.
No, that's okay. I just want to say I wasn't trying to incite discord. I just was trying to get
I
some
don't want to
information.
fight up here.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying to you.
I'm just gonna piggyback on what everybody's asking, and that's, what are each of you gonna do to make Surfside a destination? One of my things when I come to visit, come to my house in Houston, I always wonder, is there any plans in the future to make a big, something bold entrance when you're coming over the bridge? Because the power lines just hide it. And with social media right now, I mean, people want to take pictures next to something grand and something like, look where I'm at, I'm in Surfside.
But I think that's a great idea for the future
So,
after we get.
I'm just curious, going back and piggyback, what are you going to do to make Surfside a beach destination?
Yes, yes. Well, I climbed up the palm trees and trimmed them all.
I saw that picture. I was like, thank you, I saw your picture, thank you.
I built a hotel so we can collect more hotel motel tax.
That's hands-on, okay, all right.
I'm trying. And after I built my hotel, I mean, no one had done that in forever out here. And then Ocean Village built a duplicate one, a smaller one. And then they built the giant facility that they have now. And we've increased our hotel motel taxes. And also, the people who, let's say, rent their house on a nightly basis or a weekend basis and weren't paying hotel motel tax, we aggressively go after those payments as well to get money from Airbnb and some other ones, VRBO and VRBO.
Yes.
Just to try and get people to pay their fair share out here. And we've increased our hotel motel tax revenue double, tripled, in the last 10 years. That's what I'm trying to do anyway.